Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Wedding Week, day five, the final day. We're going to be talking about creating an unforgettable guest experience. Now, I'll go ahead and introduce over Faye, who's been leading us through this whole week.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Christina. And for those of you, I'm sure you know by now, Christina is going to be back for the Q&A because she leads our weekly wedding planning calls where you get to bring your questions and whatever it is that you want to work through. And so I'm excited to hear her wisdom a little bit later in the Q&A for creating an unforgettable guest experience. So again, it's day five, so by now you know about wedding details, but let's just get into it again. We are the wedding planner for the modern couple, the couple who is tech savvy, the couple who doesn't mind doing a little bit of work on your own, as long as you have clear guidance, right? So you're not doing rework and you're not spending 15 hours a week planning your wedding, because again, that's basically a second or third job for you, right? Like we want to help you, guide you through the wedding planning process in a way that saves you tons of time, brings back the joy of being engaged and planning a wedding. And we're excited about everybody who chooses to work with us and go through wedding planning with us. All right. So a little bit about wedding week. During wedding week, our goal is to help you get more done in 5 days than you have in the past 2 months. That's largely through giving you clarity. And so I'm sure by now, between days 1 and 4, you've got a whole lot more clarity about what to focus on, what's next, and all of that. And we're excited to keep that going. Okay. So today's going to be really good, focusing on creating a guest experience that is unforgettable for the right reasons, because it could be unforgettable for the wrong reasons, right? All right. That leads into the mantra. My wedding will be remembered for the right reasons. Like, I think you can determine that instead of just sitting in anxiety and saying, oh, I hope it goes well and I hope, everybody has fun. You can plan a wedding in a way that makes sure that people have fun, that it runs well, and that is remembered for the right reasons. And I also would say, just take a moment to reflect. Think of a wedding that you remember for all the wrong reasons, where you're like, oh my gosh, it was so chaotic. Or if you've never been to a wedding, maybe an event that you're like, oh, I never ever want to have an event that looks or feels like this. And write down why you feel that way. What happened that made you feel that way? And then think of an event or wedding, a wedding, but if you've never been to a wedding before, think of an event that you've been to and you're like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. Like it doesn't mean you want to copy everything they did because you have your own style and preferences, but the way it made you feel and your experience there was amazing, and write down what those things were, right? That were a positive experience and that you felt were amazing. And I bet you will realize that a lot of the things that made it amazing are the things that we're about to get into now. All right. So so again, this is the question. What was the most memorable wedding experience you've ever had? Positively memorable, of course. Write it down. What were the things, right, about it that made you be like, oh my gosh, this was amazing, right? I remember, for instance, for myself, actually, I'll tell the story in a bit, like why intentional guest experience matters. Obviously, been a wedding planner for over 15 years. Christina's been a wedding planner for over 11 years, but I'm also a little bit younger. And so many of my friends and family members have gotten married. And so there I have had three instances of being a wedding planner and to get four actually. This number may continue to go up as my memory clarifies, but multiple instances of being a wedding planner and a guest. And I've had two instances of being a bridesmaid while also being the wedding planner, right? Now, of course, as a bridesmaid, the team coordinated because I was focused on other things, having fun and being there for my friends. But I think of one wedding, actually, all of these weddings, but the example I want to give you is one of my best friend's weddings. And it was at a winery, people came. The ceremony intentionally started about 10 minutes late because it was really difficult to find parking there and some people were late. So we started a little bit late, but we ended early. The ceremony was short, was very short. So we made sure that went well. People had champagne before they got to sit. It was a beautiful experience for the guests. As a bridesmaid, I didn't enjoy any of that. But after the reception started, we all danced in, we had our seats, we had our food, and we made it through the reception. There was plenty of time. I want to say maybe 2.5 hours of time where we were just free. Like we were doing line dances on the dance floor. There was wine being served. There was a beautiful view of DC, beautiful view of the water. There were like places to just sit. My boyfriend actually was my plus one. And so we got to just sit like by the fire and just talk for like 20 minutes, you know? Like, when was the last time that you got to go to a wedding and just sit and catch up with people? And he's not the only one. I got to catch up with different friends. This friend actually lives in New York, so they didn't live near me. So, like, all my friends came in from out of town. I got to sit and talk with people at the wedding, right? It was not rushed. I remember dancing a lot. I remember eating a lot. I had lots of dessert, had cake, lots of food. And plenty of time to hit the photo booth, right? Everybody who wanted to visit the photo booth got their picture. Some people got multiple, and that's okay. That's on them. But the goal, what I'm saying is that we got to indulge in everything that was provided. And I think that that is probably like the biggest piece is, yeah, you can throw a lot of stuff into a wedding, but do people actually get to indulge in everything that's provided, right? I also attend events. I won't say, oh, if I'm not planning, I'm not going, you know. So I attended a family member's event. It wasn't quite a wedding, but it was maybe at that scale. And I remember I went also with my boyfriend at the time. Um, and we took a picture in the photo booth. And then another one of my cousins was like, wait a minute, where'd you get that? And I was like, in the photo booth. And she's like, well, we didn't get a chance. And I turned around and that's when I realized it was gone, you know, and almost everybody who saw our little printout was like, wait a minute, I didn't get one. I didn't get one. I didn't get one. So yeah, you can have a photo booth, but do people get to experience it? Or do they just remember I didn't make it there or it was gone by the time I was ready to go, right? There's a lot more to creating an intentional guest experience that goes way beyond just throwing a lot of stuff together. You have to give people the space and the time to actually enjoy it. All right, so we're going to get into how that looks in a second. So, this is what an unforgettable wedding day looks like. Number one, first and foremost, this is like the mission of every wedding. It starts on time. I cannot tell you, like, I know that a lot of people have normalized weddings starting late. Say, oh yeah, everybody knows weddings always start late, but I'm telling you, you are losing money. That you're losing time that you paid for every time the wedding starts late. I mentioned my friend's wedding, but we were ready. Everybody was ready. Officiant was ready. We even had some guests, who were already sitting down and enjoying the ceremony. However, this person did not want anyone entering the ceremony once we came down the aisle, which meant starting on time meant that a whole bunch of people were going to completely miss the ceremony. And on top of that, we knew that the ceremony was only 15 minutes long. So even though we started 10 minutes late, we still ended early and everything else ran on schedule, right? We actually probably got to dancing a little bit earlier than planned, right? That's the kind of experience that people want to remember. So, yeah, starting on time is, I don't want to say it's relative because for the most part, we do start on time. But if you start a little, if you like have wiggle room to make sure your ceremony still ends on time and like you're not cutting into anything else, that's okay. Like plus or minus 10 minutes is okay. What I'm talking about is starting a wedding an hour and a half late. I have attended weddings that started an hour and a half late. And in almost every case, it was because of hair and makeup, which we already talked about yesterday or 2 days ago. But that you are losing so much valuable time. The people who came on time for your ceremony are irritated, honestly, by the time you get there. And it just sets a negative tone for the day. So starting on time is a must-have, right? Um, and there's a lot, it takes a lot to start on time, which is why we build our schedules a certain way and plan weddings a certain way. Number two, and book vendors a certain way. There's just a lot. Prepare them with emails ahead of time a certain way to make sure it starts on time. The second thing is that everyone got food, got drinks, and got a place to sit. Now, particularly if you are DIYing any element of food, drinks, or decor, this may seem like oh, obvious, but I'm sure many people have been into an event where you either didn't get something to eat or something was served and you didn't get it, and you remember it, right? Or like you got up to go to the bathroom and when you came back, like there was nowhere else to sit. Like no one wants that kind of experience, right? So, or you found a place to sit, but it took forever. It took forever to find a place to sit. And by the way, you can achieve this whether or not you have a seating plan. You can. Sometimes it's not all about a seating plan. It's about being realistic about how many people are coming and making sure that there's adequate space, right? So making sure everyone gets food, drinks, and a place to sit. Unfortunately, we didn't have it's too difficult to generalize catering advice. Like that's going to be more personalized when we work on your individual weddings. But a big thing about food is you can technically have enough food for everybody, but you don't have enough of everything for everybody. So the last people who get served don't have options. Like, like if you've ever taken a flight, an international flight, or maybe a domestic flight that's first class, and they're serving meals. And by the time they get to you, you're like, oh yeah, I would like the fish. And they're like, oh no, we don't have fish anymore. Sorry, we only have chicken. Do you know how frustrating that is? Do you know how frustrating it is? Because you're like, I sat in my seat like I was supposed to, and I did everything I was supposed to, and I just wanted fish, and I didn't get my fish. And I mean, can I eat chicken? Sure, but it's not what I want. Like it's frustrating. Imagine that at a celebration. Nobody wants to remember that they came to your wedding and they sat, they didn't, they waited for their table to be called like they were supposed to go to the buffet line, or they waited for the server to come to them like they were supposed to. And by the time they got there, they're like, oh no, we're out of fish. Oh no, we're out of this. It's frustrating. I'm not even saying like, and of course there are also more extreme scenarios where the food actually runs out as well. Um, which can be a case if you don't have enough buffer extra food, and if your buffet is set up a certain, there's just so much that could cause a lot of waste. That means that it ends up running out at the end. But that is like literally the logistics that we plan into your wedding is to help you have a great guest experience, not just throwing something together. It's intentional so you have a great guest experience, right? The next thing is at least 90 minutes of dancing. And here's the thing about at least 90 minutes of dancing. Not everybody's going to want to dance. But the people who are not dancing are doing other things. They're taking selfies. They are catching up with that friend they haven't seen in forever. Like, listen, when I went to my one of my friend's weddings, I think it was in Hawaii, I saw a bunch of people I haven't seen since graduation or not too long after grad. Like, most of the people there I hadn't seen in at least 5 years, 5 or 6 years. So yeah, we had a lot to talk about, right? And especially if it's not like if you're not having a weekend long event, if it's just that day, like yeah, there's so much to do. People need open space. People do not need an MC talking all night and to be locked in their seat. They need freedom to roam and talk to each other. Sometimes you have a family member who lives in Canada or something, and they came for the wedding and you haven't seen them in forever. Like they need space, right? So that 90 minutes of dancing, it's more like open time to do all kinds of things. Yeah, some people may dance for the whole 90 minutes, but there's so much other stuff. Going to the photo booth, like there's just so much other stuff that people can do during that time, right? And it's also really important for people to feel love from you, not stress. There's a wedding that I attended um, for like a family friend. And I could tell that the bride was very irritated. Like, and it's one of the first things I remember whenever I think back to that wedding, unfortunately. Granted, cocktail hour ran about at like over 2 hours, which I think was what was frustrating her, because the wedding was so far behind schedule. And yes, we did not have, I don't even think we had 30 minutes of dancing at that wedding, right? And so once things start falling so drastically behind like that, you know you're not going to make up the time. But I just remember the look on her face and I remember the frustration, like as she was like moving around after they took pictures, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible, right? Like you feel bad. Um, and for some of you, it may be just that you're like snapping at everybody, or you're like, "Hey, I just gotta go. I just gotta go. Everybody just leave me. Like you don't want to be like on high alert like that. You need to like release." And this is part of the reason that with wedded details, you have the option. You can go with a coordination team from our partner network. But also, if you don't do that, we don't try to say you should do it yourself. You need a friend or a family member who's not in the wedding party to be your coordinator, your volunteer coordinator, so that everything is not on you and you can focus on being pleasant. People are coming to see you, right? And being pleasant instead of being stressed or worried about there being 3 candles on the table instead of 4 and stuff like that, right? Like being able to focus on your guests and on the experience, right? Also being present. Like there's the stress part, but there's also like being physically present, right? For some people, you're like, I want to have 4 outfit changes, 2 makeup look changes, and I want to switch my hair. You're gonna be in the dressing room the whole night, right? Like you're gonna miss the event. Like you're gonna look great. You're gonna have amazing portraits, but you want to make sure you organize your schedule in a way that you have time to actually be physically present with people and available to hang out with them, to dance, and to enjoy your wedding for more than glam, right? And I know the baddies may not want to hear that, but the truth is that you can do both, right? With an amazing makeup artist, your makeup should last all day. You can have an updo during the day that you brush out at night and have an easy to change it into outfit if you want to change so that you can do it quickly and get back out and dance and enjoy your night. Last but not least, is Entertainment. Like before the ceremony begins, when people start arriving at your ceremony, there should be some music playing. It doesn't have to be a violinist if if your budget can't afford it or if that's just not your priority, but something for people to just hear and just sit and, all of that. Like cocktail hour. Background music is nice. I would say it's not always required because people are usually talking. They're not really listening to the music, but it's a nice touch to have some entertainment there. And then a guided but not drawn out reception so that people can get to the dancing that I talked about in the open space that I talked about. These are the things, if you really think about it, that if you do these things, you will have an unforgettable guest experience, right? This plus beautiful decor and whatever else you choose to add, but these are like the cores that anybody can do, literally on pretty much any budget to make sure that your guests have an amazing guest experience, right? Some other things you can do is email guest reminders 1 to 2 days before the event, particularly when it comes to parking, right? Like that wedding that I said, parking was tough. We did email people a couple days in advance, like, hey, try to carpool, come super early, right? It's the middle of DC, a very busy area in the summer. Everybody's outside. It's going to be hard to find parking. Um, and let people know what they're up against, right? So that people aren't egregiously late. Because again, for us, we just waited an extra 10 minutes and we had a great number of people there. It just took a little bit of time. But if people are shocked, if people are pulling up 5 minutes before the ceremony and they're surprised that it is going to take 30 minutes, 40 minutes to park, then you're going to start egregiously late, right? If you wait for them. Add some extras. Oh, some other reminders to add. If there's no plus ones, remind them of that. If there's no kids, remind them of that. People may not remember what you put on the invitation 6 months ago or 3 months ago, right? Like, remind them of that. Like, your seat is for you. We don't have extra seats for other people. It's just for you. Add some extras. Photo booths are nice. Cocktail entertainment is nice. Reception entertainment is great. If you want to have a singer, great. If you want to have a saxophonist while you do your first dance, great. Like, you can add some extras or you cannot. But those are some things that you can do for your own personality. Next dance, people are not going to party till they see you do it. You're the one that they came to party with, so you can't be in the corner like, why is nobody dancing? Like you got to get out there, okay? Nobody's saying you have to be a great dancer. You just have to be out there. And then also minimize the glam time. It takes so much away from your reception. I can't tell you, you know, and I hate to say it this way, but a lot of times vendors will push you to do things because they want, like, oh, yeah, yeah, we'll do a whole new look for you for cocktail hour, and then we'll do a whole new look for you for the reception, right? They are completely ignoring everything else that you want to do, like actually talk to your friends and X, Y, and Z. And a lot of times when makeup artists tell you they're going to touch you up for 10 to 15 minutes, it turns into 30, right? And you lose a lot of time. So I would say plan as much as you can for outfits that don't take long to put on or take off. Um, Except for your wedding dress. If your wedding dress takes a while, then we're just gonna have to deal with that. But your second look, if you have a third look especially, try to pick things that are easy, right? So that you're not losing the whole day in the bridal suite. And make sure you get professional help on your schedule. I mean, I've given you a lot, but a lot of times people, you may not know how to actually implement the things I've given you. And there's just so much more beyond this, right? That depends on your schedule and what you have going on. So definitely get a professional to help you on your schedule. That's what we do here at Wedded Details. If you book any of our packages, we will help you through all of this. All right. So just a reminder, when you book us, if you haven't gotten a venue yet, you start with the pre-work phase. However, if you do, you start with the intake phase. You let us know your preferences and we'll give you vendor recommendations, inquiry text, a timeline draft, so much more. Well, we have a whole team to support you, Veronica to review your agreements, Wendy to answer your questions. We have Christina here who will be leading our weekly group wedding planning calls to support you throughout the way. In the final details stage, again, if you book at the final details package, you start here. We will organize all your final details, your more refined timeline, final details emails to each individual vendor, to your wedding party, to your family, and your final details task list to make sure that everything is on point, right? And then we either pair you with a local wedding coordinator from our partner network, or we will train a friend or family member to manage the day for free, included in your wedding details package. So this is pretty much what this looks like for you. Don't forget, a major bonus that you get is our magazine-worthy event design service. So all of our press features have been based off of like gorgeous designs that we've done for clients, right? At different price points. So We want to help you to design a gorgeous wedding, coming up with a custom design plan that you can shop around to a few different floors. And not only does this help you have a gorgeous wedding, by the way, it also helps you to be able to compare apples to apples. A lot of people will have a meeting with this designer and come up with this design, and another designer comes up with another design. And then they're all different price points, but they're also all different things. A lot of the proposals also don't even have pictures, so you don't even know how to compare them to each other. And it's like, I did all this work and I'm still confused. But when you let us design your wedding, we finalize a plan, and then you send that out as an RFP for different people to bid on, basically it becomes clear who you should select. And it takes, again, this is another way that we literally will save you at least 10, 15, maybe even 20 hours just in the design process, right? Like with the way that we plan events and our approach. So definitely make sure you grab that. That expires tonight. This fast action bonus expires tonight. All right. Last but not least is my favorite part is our Q&A. All right. Cool, cool, cool. So, hello, Christina.
Yeah, great gems.
Great gems, great gems. Yes, yes, yes. You guys are getting all the good stuff. All right. So, do you have any ideas for people who are like, I just need ideas. Like, what should I do? What ideas should I do to create, for a guest experience beyond like starting on time and making the day go smoothly, which is the core. Having a whole bunch of stuff and you don't do that is going to still mess with your guest experience. But what are
Definitely.
some other extras that people can think of?
Yeah, you hit on a lot of really great things, and I think that is one of the things that we get told the most throughout the night is guests are just amazed, like, wow, everything's just running so smooth, everything's just so on time, and it's a new experience for them most of the time,
Mhm.
because they're used to, family events or other events that don't do those things. So that is definitely key. But I think some other fun ways to make memorable moments and experiences for your guests is really incorporating like personal touches in meaningful ways to you that speaks to the couple's love story. So I
Mhm.
think of times where, like a couple they had a dog. They didn't have any kids yet, but their dog was like their child, and everybody knew Casper the dog is like their baby. And so they had a little collar for him that was a little like suit bow tie, and they hung the ring box from his collar, and it was like a whole surprise moment when then they had his own song, and they brought him out, and he like walked the aisle and brought the rings over, and it was adorable. It was super super cute, and everybody loved it. Everybody was oohing and ahhing, and so just moments like that. And you don't have to do the personalized touches where they're just to do like, put your face on a napkin or something. If that doesn't, matter to you to have or have your monogram on a napkin, like things that are doing it just for the sake of doing it, people aren't going to remember as much. But if it's sentimental to you, if it speaks to your love story, who you are as a couple, I had a couple that they had met on a dating app, and they had went back and found their initial messages to each other, and they printed those on the bar napkins. So it was like a fun conversation starter, and then you get to know even more details and info about their love story. You feel like you're a part of the day. And so I love helping couples incorporate those moments for their guests, and guests love it too.
Yeah, guests absolutely do. They absolutely do. I think of even just something as simple as like table numbers. So like we had a client where the groom was like, "How do we put our picture on the vases?" And the bride was like, "Oh my God." Like the face she made was like, "Why would you ever say that?" And I was like, "Wait, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let's rewind." Right? And then instead we put their faces on the table numbers. And that was like, I was like, because I don't want to completely shut him down. Let's try to find a middle ground. And it did take me a while to think of an idea, but that was what we did, and that worked. Or even something like if you travel a lot, like if you and your
Mhm.
fiance travel a lot, like put all the different places that you visited together and turn those into table numbers.
Yeah.
Like maybe table like, but still have numbers though, so you
I
don't
had
confuse
a
the
couple
staff.
do na the national parks that they went to, and then
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
picture at each of the national parks that they've visited. That
Right.
was
But
really
still
cute.
have a number though, so you don't confuse
Yes, yes.
staff. So still have like table one at New York City,
Yeah.
table two, Los Angeles. Like still do that. But like those sorts of things are ways to help people to say, oh yeah, wow, they really travel a lot. Like, oh yeah, they went to Los. Oh yeah, I did see that picture on Instagram when they were in LA. Like just ways to bring people in. So I love that.
Hmm.
Okay. And what about those people who, what would you say if people are like, oh, no one's dancing, or how do I make sure people dance at my wedding? What advice do you have about that?
Yeah, I think we've done some fun things with like photographers and DJs where if you have like an average size wedding, it works really well of getting everybody, once all your formalities are done and you're wanting to like open up the dance floor, we'll do a big group photo, before everybody leaves, the people that are going to leave after the cake's served. We want to
Mhm,
get everybody, as many people as possible on the dance floor, and then we'll do a big group photo. And then usually the DJ knows a song to play to try to keep as many people as possible on the dance
mhm,
floor with you guys. So
mhm,
that's one way. And I think too, just creating the space and the time for it. Like one of the biggest things that people don't realize is people want to feel comfortable when they're dancing, and so your space has to change the mood, right?
mhm,
So the lighting has to shift and change. And so that's something you can plan for, but also if you don't have somebody on top of it, it's something that can go right over your head. And then the lights are all bright. And yeah, sure, the DJ may have some like dance floor lights, but if the lights are bright in the room,
You
it's
can't
not
see
going
it.
to encourage people to go to the dance floor. They're going to
Yeah.
hang around on the outskirts and hang out at the bar. And then you're wondering, why isn't anyone dancing? That's because the lights are on.
Mhm.
So
Yes,
just,
I
yeah.
love that. Yeah, so in addition to, of course, you yourself have to dance, but yes, the
Yeah.
is huge. Having someone dim the lights, and even if someone didn't remember, just saying, "Hey, can you dim the lights?" Just signal to someone,
Yeah.
dim the lights. Also, if it's that bright, the DJ, you won't even see the DJ's lights. I always tell people, white light
That's
always
true.
wins, right? So if it's super bright and the DJ's like doing stuff, you can't even see it. So
Hmm.
that's something to keep in mind. I love that. Something else that could be a hack if you're like, oh, the group picture thing, I don't know, is just ending with like bouquet toss or garter toss, something like that. Because then at least you
Hmm.
have your half of your wedding party on the floor, around half of it on the dance floor, and then they stay there. Like they know their job is to stay there and keep dancing and like encourage other people to come out. So, but yeah, the biggest thing is that you
Yeah.
got to get out there too, right? And you have to look like you're having fun out there. You don't have to be.
Yeah. And not actually having to run and do a million things or being stressed out, like you said. I think people want to have fun with you as
Mhm.
the couple. And if you're having fun on the dance floor, they see you and you're just having the time of your life, they're going to want to go out there too.
Yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, I love that. All right. This has been amazing. Wedding week has been a time. So I'm excited that we got to do this and we're ending with a bang with planning your guest experience. We're really excited to work with all the couples who come our way, and who allow us to plan your events. Because again, we're keeping a lot in mind as you've learned over the week. Yes, we want the logistics to be tight, but we also want you to um, we want you to, manage expectations with everybody so that you still feel positively about your family, your friends, and even your vendors, right? And your frienders by the end of the day. And then also making sure that there is a positive guest experience, that people remember your wedding for all the positive reasons. All of that love and thought is what goes into every single recommendation that we give you when we build your timelines, when we build your task list, when we build your vendor recommendations, all of those things that we're doing for you as your wedding planners. All of that goes into it. So we're excited about the chance to be your wedding planners, and we can't wait to see you guys on the inside. Myself, Christina, Ianu, and everybody else, Wendy, Veronica, everybody else who's on board, who's supporting us, right? Like to help you with your wedding. So we're really excited, and thanks so much for choosing Wedded Details. Bye, y'all.
Bye.